Hey everybody! Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. You know what that means. It is time for Spirit Wisdom Wednesday, where we gather here together in the healing space and allow some beautiful spirit wisdom to flow through. If you are new to me, let me introduce myself and welcome you here. My name is Meredith, and this is my heart-centered business called the Healing Hummingbird. And what I love to do is help spiritual go-getters, healers, and givers reclaim their lives, receive healing, and walk on their path in the way of the hummingbird, which involves lots of joy, lightness of being, and a big brave heart. So if you are here, please do leave me a comment so I could say hello to you live and share in the beautiful energy. And of course, feel free to give this video a like or a love to let Spirit know that their messages are coming through loud and clear. So, this week, Spirit wanted to talk about something a bit more practical, and the way they phrased it was plan and expand. So, if you are a human being existing on Earth, part of a worldly life is just having to plan something, whether that's a vacation or you're buying a house or you're planning a project, whatever it is. People tend to operate on clock time, so we have to typically respect that. So that's what we'll be talking about today. So, how to plan and leave room for spirit. The way this message first came through to me was in my new job. My manager was going over our quarterly goals for marketing, and she presented 3 different goals to me. One was a forecasted goal, meaning we were, forecasted to make that goal with little effort. Then there was the regular goal, which means you would get a little bit of a bonus, which is awesome. Then there was the stretch goal. And she said, I don't want you to feel pressured to make this. It is a stretch. And this would only happen if all the stars aligned and everything worked out perfectly. And I thought, well, we can always leave room for that situation. And that's exactly what Spirit would love for us to do. They want us to hold room for the possibility of everything miraculously working out better than you had expected or better than you could even imagine. So, the first point, and they're going to give us some tips here, is to remember not to do everything by yourself. If you're anything like me, that is hard to do. I'm used to trying to make my list and get it done, make it happen. But that power through mentality not only can burn you out, but it leaves very little wiggle room for Spirit to work with you. So instead, even though it seems counterintuitive, what they would love for you to do is loosen your grip on your plans. And it allows for them to kind of weave in their messages and work their magic along with you. Okay, and now the second pointer, of course, is to talk to your spirit guides and ask them for help. So what you basically do when you have to make a plan is it's like you're handing them a blueprint and they go, oh, okay, thanks. Now that we have the plan, leave the details to us. Now, for this point, it's kind of like a little salsa dance between personal responsibility and trust. And we just talked about trust last week. So they wanted to clarify by saying, plan enough so that you're taking personal responsibility for the outcome, but remain open and flexible for changes in plans. And leaving little pockets of time is really useful too, to reconnect with Spirit if they need to give you messages or something like that. And lastly, listen to people around you. So when you ask for help on a big project, or at least this happens to me a lot, Spirit will often send messages through people. Like this could be family members, strangers, people you work with. So pay attention to fleeting thoughts you have throughout the day or random conversations that you have with these people, because that could actually be Spirit planting seeds of inspiration or giving you advice. And I have a great example of this. So my mom and I were out to lunch. This was about a week ago. And she mentioned, oh, wouldn't it be fun to plant pumpkins? And we've never done that before. And I wasn't even sure if we had the space to do that in her yard. And so that was really out of nowhere. But I thought, let's just take a look. Let's look at the packets. Maybe I could get some planted. I don't know. And so we stopped at Lowe's. We looked at the seed packets. And they said that the particular pumpkins we were looking at matured in 100 days, which is perfect timing to be ready for Halloween. It was kind of unbelievable. So I took that as a sign to go ahead and buy them and plant them. Like Spirit was saying, plant these pumpkins. And it was just unbelievable without doing any research. They like set it up for us to knock it out of the park. So we got the seeds, and then I did a little bit of research and prepared the hills of soil, because you plant them on little hills, and planted them. And like with all plants, you just kind of have to put them in the ground and see how they do. So you just never know. Weird things could happen. And they sprouted in half the time that packet said they would germinate. It said it would take 7 to 10 days to germinate. On day 4, they were out of the ground. And I was so excited. And every single seed germinated as well. So that is a perfect example of planning enough to take personal responsibility, but remaining open and flexible and letting go of the outcome so that Spirit can surprise you and make room for miracles. So I know that was a little more practical than some of our other topics, but it feels like a time to buckle down and plan. It feels like things just came in, like some manifestations came in, and there's this need to kind of reorganize things and like look at our planners again. So let me know if you're feeling that energy too, but that is what Spirit wanted to talk about for planning and expanding. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Lola. Just taking a moment to say hello to you ladies. Thank you for being here. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and start our week ahead pick a card readings. So let's take a deep breath in together to prepare for our group selection. So just a deep inhale in and an exhale out. And invite your spirit guides to come near you now and ask, which group holds my message for the week ahead? And being open to how you receive that. You could hear, know, see, or feel if it's 1, 2, or 3. And this week, they wanted to use embroidery floss as our options, which was really sweet. So for group number 1, we have the orange family. For group number 2, we have the purple family. Let me make sure you can see those. Okay. And for group number 3, we have the blues. Okay, so now that we have our groups, let's go ahead and get started with group number 1. If you picked the orange embroidery floss, this is your week ahead message. I'll go ahead and give our tarot cards a shuffle. We're using the Medicine Woman Tarot today, which you'll see the imagery, the artwork on this one is quite different. So let's see what happens for group number 1, Spirit. What would they need to know for their week ahead? What is their week ahead message for their highest good? Okay, we have Justice, the Hierophant. That card's been coming out a lot lately. And then we had 2 more fall out. Okay. So first we have Justice, or Balance, as it's called in this deck. The Peacemaker, or the Hierophant. 4 of Wands. And Strength, or Healing, as it's depicted here. Okay, so for group number 1, it feels as if there's something that needs to be said in order for your justice to be served, so to speak, in your life. It feels like the scales are balancing in accordance or in direct relation to what you say. So they're drawing attention to this energy coming out of her hands. with the peacemaker. And they're talking about an invitation to consider the way you share energy when you speak specifically. So maybe there's an opportunity to address people in a group that will come up with you in the next week, or maybe like a family dinner or something like that. And there is this opportunity for you to address them in a way that will balance out some karma. And then you have the Four of Pipes, which is a great card. This is all about stability, home life, family. So that's the second time they've brought up family. And they wanted to remind you that, well, first of all, you're not alone. That just came in really clearly. But you have the strength to do this. Maybe this is not something you would typically be comfortable with, like speaking up in a certain situation. But that invitation is going to present itself, and Spirit would love for you to take it. And group number one, you feel like you hold energy in your heart, like in a good way. And so they are showing me an image of you speaking and that energy radiating out of the heart center. So to get in touch with that, they're talking about the chakras and the literal colors of them. So maybe you could wear some green, or walk in the grass, or eat things that are green, leafy greens. Okay, so I just got really excited for some reason. There should be a card for you in here then. This is Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards. So let's see what advice Spirit has to offer to you about this situation for group number one in their week ahead. What advice, Spirit, do you have moving forward for their highest good? What do they need to know right now? Okay. So we have the Magic Guardian and the White Witch. So there is this question that they're positing about the role you want to play, not the role that you've played in the past in relationships or in the family, the role you want to play right now and moving forward. Because your true nature, they're saying, for group number one, is a peacemaker. And now they want to footnote that. That does not mean that it's necessary to never say what you need to say, or let people walk all over you, or sacrifice yourself for other people. That's kind of the shadow element of being a peacemaker, but that's not truly what that means. A peacemaker is being able to deliver the truth in a way that people can actually receive, which is really, really valuable. So thank you, group number one, for embracing your true self, because I have not run into many people like that can serve up the truth in a way that everyone can take. And they're saying that that's who you are. You are the light. You are a light bearer. And you may not be aware of just how much light you have within you, because they're saying once your energy is balanced, and again, it feels like a karmic debt, like there's something that you may need to say. There's something that you may need to say or do to balance a debt for yourself. Once that's balanced, this is going to be you. And so they're talking also about manifestations coming through after you complete that task of saying what you need to say for your highest good. So if that's you, group number one, I feel like I've been in situations like that too, where it's not like those interactions are really planned, where you have to like speak up for yourself, but it can feel really uncomfortable leading up to it, like feels like something's going to happen. But you got this. I know you do. So that was your week ahead message for group number one with the orange thread. I hope that resonated, and I will see you next time. Okay, so moving on to group number 2 with the purples. Let's get your week ahead message. We'll start again with the Medicine Woman Tarot. They usually use this to give me an idea of what the situation is that you'll be dealing with, and then I always like to include the guidance cards as well. Okay, we already have the Three of Cups coming out. That's great. We love to see that. Eight of Cups too. Okay, a lot of water energy for this group. And one more would be wonderful. Okay, and the Six of Pentacles. So I'll show you these images. That's the 3. And if you're familiar with traditional tarot, you will know how different these this artwork is. That's the 8 of Cups, and this is the 6 of Pentacles. Okay. So the main theme this week for group number 2 is leaving behind something that's no longer serving you. And it feels emotional. We have, even on the card that is Earth, we have a stream running through here. So there's a lot of water energy coming up for group number 2. And so they were just showing water boiling and the liquid transforming into steam. And so Spirit wants to remind you that if you find yourself in that situation, like too much water, there's too much going on in the emotional body, you can actually purge it verbally. You can like transform that energy into something else and use it for something else. And I don't know who keeps coming back to watch these readings, but whoever this is, they always get the 3 of Cups. Since this has come out, like, I think at least 3 weeks in a row, I feel the need to talk a little bit more about this card. So it can mean a few different things. With the 3 of Cups, it usually means like celebration, drinking with friends or like girlfriends, peers. It can also mean over drinking or needing to be careful of how much you drink. It could also mean, how do we put this? No, you know what? I'm a Sagittarius. You all know me. So I'll just shoot it straight for you. It can also mean a third-party situation in a relationship. But with the way I read and the way I intend to pick the cards as they come out, this would never be a surprise to you. This would be something you are already aware of. So if that doesn't resonate for you, don't even worry about it. I'm not telling you that's a situation. This just keeps coming up. So I'm wondering who this is. And if you don't feel comfortable commenting below, will you shoot me a message? Because I'm just like curious about it, girl. So hopefully this just means that you are going to get together with friends and have a good time. But I feel like that subject of leaving behind something that's no longer serving you in the 8, I feel like that's going to come up with your friends. And Spirit's saying to just be mindful of your boundaries with that. And of course, you know, friends that you go out with mean well and they care about you, but there's some kind of like social situation that feels a bit strained for this group number 2. So it could be like you don't know how much is appropriate to say, or you may not entirely trust everyone present. And that's totally valid. If you feel that way, you don't have to tell them exactly everything that's going on. But Spirit's saying it would be valuable for you emotionally to contribute to that conversation. So don't be scared to kind of vent, because I feel like you might need to. But just keep that in the back of your mind that you don't, if you get this strange feeling like, I think I might be saying too much, listen. Because you don't want to leave a conversation feeling like, oh man, I shouldn't have said all that. That's a bad feeling. I've been there. So let's get your guidance, group number 2. And it just flipped right on out of there. Okay. And let's have another one. Okay, so you've got two very strong personalities coming out in this deck. So that could be reflective of people that you deal with. Maybe you are meeting people who have really strong personalities, or maybe you have been told you have a strong personality. So that was a random message that came out. You have the Oracle and the Warrior. So there's this like kind of Spitfire energy with group number 2. There may be the tendency, they're talking about drinking again. So maybe you have, whoever keeps picking this group, maybe you have like a weekly outing with your friends or something like that, or like a weekly happy hour. And so they're talking again about just being mindful of remembering who you're dealing with, and to not let the drinks and feeling like heightened, I wanted to say rowdy, but that doesn't feel like the right word, to just not take it too seriously. To not take it too seriously is what they're saying. They're also talking about receiving. And they're talking about the right side of the body as well. So you might be feeling some discomfort anywhere on the right side of your body. I kind of feel it around where you would have a pocket, maybe in the hip down here, around there. So I feel like maybe there's a block that we could work on there. So if you're in group number 2, if you are open to it, all you have to do is affirm, I receive healing energy from Meredith's reading right now. And I'm just going to go ahead and intend to send you some healing energy to that right side. Because that's pretty painful. And if you can't receive, you're not going to be able to let go of other things. So let me just send this out to you. Just take a deep breath in with me. And an exhale out. And we'll do that 2 more times. Inhale in. And exhale out. Good. One more time. Inhale in. And exhale out. Wonderful. Okay. Also, they're talking about stretching the hips. So maybe you would want to do some gentle squats or, stretching to release the quads and any tension in the glutes as well. So they really want to reinforce that healing energy that we just worked on there. So they want to switch focus to the Warrior. And it feels like something that's just going to be like lit up at some point. So you might feel triggered, for lack of a better word, at some point in the week. Maybe if you're celebrating with the people that we've been talking about, you might feel triggered. And Spirit wants to let you know that the feelings you have are valid. But they're showing it more as a steady shore energy, like a mountain, not like a mountain lion is what they're saying. So you don't have to necessarily charge at somebody or, defend yourself verbally or anything. You can just simply stand your ground, knowing that you love and honor yourself. So that was kind of a lot. It feels like you have a lot going on, group number 2. But if that was you, my heart goes out to you, and I hope that your right side of your body starts to feel better. And that was your week ahead message. Take care. I will see you next time. Okay, so for our third and final group for the blue thread, let's see what your week ahead message is. Okay, so for group number 3, what would be for their highest good to know right now about their week ahead? I'm already getting a message about releasing the way things appear to be. So like minor imperfections, I feel like there's a need to just kind of release that and let go of it. let's see what else comes out about that. Okay, so we have the exemplar of arrows. This means the King of Swords. We have the Magician. Oh, great card. And we have the Dancer, or the World. Wow. Okay, group number 3, you're having a big week. You have 2 major arcana as 2 of the 3 cards. And there's something, so they're talking about celebrating and completing something that you have created, that you have manifested, that you manifested as the Magician, as the co-creator of your life. This is a time to celebrate that people are seeing you, and it's time to allow yourself to be seen. So maybe that message before about nitpicking could be about like physical appearance, or maybe even the way you speak, like being too picky towards yourself. And they really would love for you to let that go, because you are killing it. So the exemplar of arrows, that would be the King of Swords. So this would be someone who is so intelligent, so articulate, and just knows how to analyze things and get it done, unlike anyone else. And they own that power. And they own it so much, and this is you, group number 3, whether you know it or not, they magnetize that energy to them. So people start to recognize this about them, and they are drawn to them for that. So I would not be surprised, group number 3, if you find people this week giving you compliments that are very well deserved, and also asking you for advice. So speaking of advice, let's get a couple guidance cards for you, group number 3, though it sounds like you have an amazing week coming up. So let's see. Okay. So you have the Lord and Wise One. Interesting contrast in ages here. So there's a message about not looking your age, or something about the age of your soul and the age of your body not matching. So that could either mean if you are further on your path in your life physically, that would mean that you are really young at heart and you have a childlike spirit. Or if you are rather young, you have an old spirit, or you might have been told that you have an old soul. So that's a message that immediately came out. So the Lord, take charge with authority. I think that goes back to the King of Swords. You just have this authoritative energy this week, group number 3. If something that you've created has not only blossomed and experienced lots of success, it's like rounding out and completing, and everything is being tied in a beautiful bow. And so for Wise One as well, again, I feel like that's you, group number 3. Typically, I would read that as you might receive advice from somebody. But I think you're the advisor, group number 3. I mean, you came out as the Magician and the King of Swords, which are very high-level cards. So, again, people might be coming to you for advice. Some spirit animals that might be showing up for you might be the ram, or you might be a Capricorn in your sun, moon, or rising, or the owl might show up for you as well. Also, pay attention to your dreams and little things that might cross your path. So you might find like coins lying around, or like a feather on the ground or something like that. Because I feel like your spirit guides will be leaving little things for you. And it just feels like you are so dialed in this week because of your huge success that you're celebrating, group number 3. So those messages will come in really clearly, and you will just know, oh, that's from my spirit guides. I will take a look at this. Okay, this is like, you're just going to know. You're just going to know what your messages are, because you are on fire this week, group number 3. So congratulations. I'd love to know what your success is if you feel comfortable sharing it below. But that was your week ahead message for the blue threads. If that was you, again, congratulations. And let me know, I might ask you for some advice myself. And have a great week moving forward and take care. All right, everybody. So plan and expand, and we had some exciting week ahead readings. It feels like things are going. It feels like momentum is picking up. So if you have anything else to share later on about these readings, do let me know. I love hearing that. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I will see you next week. Bye.